I am Kimberlee Hanson, and I am the director of Bernell Charter School. I began my career in teaching Rio Rancho High School, and I taught a variety of courses and I taught a variety of students. So I was a language arts instructor, a humanities instructor. I taught history, science fiction, literature at the movies, and yes, I learned that reluctant readers, unless they could connect with something personal within the text, it was hard for them to be motivated. And so science fiction I discovered, and that includes the genre of fantasy and soft science fiction and the technical science fiction, had the themes and the language and the open-ended questions that allowed students to really connect with the subject matter. When I taught this course, I was able to pull in historical content as well, because it ties in with the themes that you can find in science fiction, and students responded very well. So for example, if you're reading Ender's Game, you can talk about genocide and you can tie that in with your humanities courses. Mm-hmm. However, when I designed this class, I had a variety of readers who were reading at different levels. And so they really wanted to read the texts, but some of them lacked the actual reading skills to access the text. And in retrospect, something like Reading Plus would be an excellent option in a class like this. And if I could go back and do that again, I would put Reading Plus in while students were reading their novels as well. Bernell Charter School is a school dedicated to the education and the transition of incarcerated students. They are adults who are bettering their lives and who start with us out at MDC and then transition down to our Roma campus. And we have the structures in place to help them make that transition. We have several other campuses in Rio Rancho and in Albuquerque. We have students in the Job Corps campus, Sandoval Detention Center, Women's Recovery, and we are going into the Four Winds Behavioral Health Center. So what originated as students who were incarcerated turned into a set of campuses helping the same sorts of students to get an education and to improve their lives.
The community.
So we measure recidivism. It's part of our charter school contract. And our success rate, we generally have, and this is an average, about an 80% success rate with students not going back to jail. Now, what you have to think about though is that we don't know exactly what the 80% of those students are doing. So this is a very loose number that I'm throwing out there. We could confirm that 80% of our graduates, they have to be with us for a little while, did not go back to jail. Now, whether or not they have transitioned successfully, we're getting better at tracking that data, and we actually have a student information system where we're tracking our graduates, and we've broken down within the system. We have an employment data, we have education data, whether or not they're with their families or missing in action, or perhaps they're incarcerated in another state. So we are continually refining our process for collecting that data. When we opened up our school out in the Metropolitan Detention Center, instructors had approximately 20 students in a classroom, and all of them were reading at different levels. The ranges were from 4th grade all the way up to 11th grade. So imagine a language arts instructor in a classroom with 20 students reading at different levels. Then you have to take into consideration that those students are coming and going. So we have a 500% mobility rate. I believe, but cannot promise, that it's the highest mobility rate of any public school in the state, meaning that students are coming and going every week. We probably lose 20 and gain 20 on a weekly basis. So my original curriculum design was out of a mastery-based curriculum packet so that students could come in and start with their packets. And then earn their credits, and then if they have to leave, they've banked those packets. They haven't lost those credits, which is very important because they will come into MDC and then they will come to Roma and then they will go to a treatment program. And so we needed to have students pick up right where they left off. That was a successful concept, but it was not possible for instructors to teach individual students in 2 weeks enough reading skills to access the packets. And that's where Reading Plus comes in. We had 2 instructors who reached out to Valerie and the Reading Plus folks, and they brought the reading program to our school. And so immediately it gave a reprieve, and it gave students something to do right when they walk into the classroom. We get them set up on Reading Plus, which frees up the instructor to start doing individual assessments and working with other students. It gets better from there though. That's just the beginning. Here's the thing with Reading Plus. If you think about it as a computer program, it's really easy to come into class, to set up your students, and believe that it is a self-monitoring program, that you're on autopilot and students will just get on the computer and do their Reading Plus. In the beginning, that's how we used the system. We didn't have a lot of training and knowledge, and we were still trying to put the school together. And so at that level, it did provide support that we needed, and it did provide some of the skills that our students needed. But an interesting transition occurred, and that's when Doug Price took over the Reading Plus program, and he learned the program inside and out. He dedicated his time and energy to individualizing Reading Plus so that he could work with each student using the program. So that got me thinking that Reading Plus is as excellent as the teacher that utilizes the program. That is the key for me. So Doug went in and he learned about all the structures that are within Reading Plus. He created mini lessons around these structures. So for example, he extrapolated the resources around finding the main idea. You can go into Reading Plus and you can find these handouts that support finding the main idea. And he created mini lessons and he put them up in his classroom. And he spent a few minutes each day with whole class instruction going over these things, and then he would put students back on the program. And that's when we started to see great results with Reading Plus. Autopilot, good results. Teacher-led, the passion that came from the teacher, the commitment to learning the program and individualizing is where we saw our great results. So that's when I started to think about this as a language arts teacher, and really loving rich language arts classes where you do projects and you contemplate themes and ideas and you do your science fiction. And I thought Reading Plus is a perfect fit for this kind of model, because Reading Plus an instructor can use Reading Plus to build that reading foundation, and that frees them up to bring in all of those rich added resources. Because what I've noticed is that instructors feel that a reading program that's computerized could never be as good as an instructor, because I am the teacher and I am the one that helps them to make those personal connections. And I know my students so well. And so how could a reading program ever do that? And how could it inspire students? And how can it not be boring during class? Well, when I watched Doug take the program and make it his own, and I thought about what I would do in a class, it opens it up. It brings the structure to open up for creativity. So if I could speak to English teachers, language arts teachers, principals, superintendents, I would love to explain how that works. And I think that's where some of the pushback is, that it can be seen. You don't have to have students on Reading Plus from start to end, every single minute of the day. You can be a master in that class of incorporating Reading Plus. We see an average gain of 3 grade levels per 4 months, approximately. I have the exact data in my office. I don't want to give incorrect data. But if a student works with Doug in Reading Plus for 3 months, they can go up, for 4 months, they can go up 3 to 4 grade levels, and even more sometimes.